Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Welcome to round 7 of the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors series. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, alongside me is Andy Thompson. Jonathan Kubrowski is bringing you this production live on Apex Racing TV. We are here in Belgium at the Spa-Francorchamps circuit for this round of the championship. Andy, very nice to have you in the commentary box alongside me. I think you joined for a good race here. So much slipstream. This is the ultimate slipstream circuit, besides maybe Monza and obviously the ovals as well that we have. Really, anyone could win this one. We are going to see a lot of pack racing. Going to be, very unexpected, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Thank you, viewers, for having me for this very first spec race for myself around the iconic track of Spa. So obviously the speed in these are similar to the Mazdas, as I'm led to believe, or maybe a little bit faster. So I'm well versed with Mazdas going around this track, so it should be good. 40-minute race ahead of us. Really looking forward to it. Very unusual looking cars when I look at them on track, but I'm sure, like you said, with the slipstream effect, and there's probably no better place than Spa for that slipstream effect. So it should be some good races coming down the Kemmel Straight, and all the start-finish line coming down to the source, the first corner, so it should be interesting.
You mentioned the Mazdas and how we had races in the Mazdas around the circuit recently. We had one of the best photo finishes I've ever seen, where I think the results changed about 3 times post-race because iRacing and SDK Gaming couldn't figure out who actually won. If we have anything like that, that will be absolutely brilliant out here tonight, fingers crossed. We've just got the drivers crossing line for their final qualifying laps. Right now they can complete these laps, I believe, albeit we're not seeing any improvements really at the moment. Most of the front runners just returning to the pits, and then of course we will have a 40-minute race later on. But before that we will have a bit of a break, a 5-minute break for the drivers just to relax themselves before they get onto the grid for the race starts. And we've got some very top drivers as well in this split as well. We've got Gaspers up there, former champion in this series, and of course Aeronom championship leader Arabian Dobek, top of the qualifying standings at the moment. So and a packed grid as well, Andy, as well. I mean, we've got over 55 cars. I think the biggest grid we've had all season.
Yeah, I was looking down the timing tower and saw we had 58 cars on track. So this first lap is certainly going to be interesting with 58 of the same cars on track. You know, they need to keep it nice and clean. It's a 40-minute race, so it's not like it's a 5 or 10-minute sprint race ahead of them. So I think they just need to keep it nice and calm on that first lap. Make sure they don't get any damage in these cars to be able to push on after the first lap and probably see quite a few drivers, I'd imagine, with incidents in this race, and the drivers that keep it nice and clean will be the ones that real profit from the positions, I'd imagine, going through this 40-minute race.
Yeah, I mean, we could be seeing 40 plus position gains for some of the drivers. We could have some ridiculous numbers with that, and yeah, hopefully most of them are done with overtakes and not clashes, but we will see. And quite a split as well in the pace. You can see some 4 seconds off. Super long circuit though, of course, this. We have had some such short circuits. We've had Tsukuba, we've had Knockhill, we had Summit Point last time out as well. And then we go to a circuit which is about 3 times longer than all of them. And yeah, the gap's inevitably increasing slightly. I was going to say earlier on, I do feel like when you were saying earlier on, Andy, about these cars looking odd, I don't know if you've seen the Formula E cars, the new design of them. I think the new Formula E cars look really similar to these, just the way that the front is so sort of flat. It's very odd. I'm not sure if you've seen it, Andy, but anyone in the YouTube comments, please back me up on that one. I do think Formula E have taken some inspiration from these brilliant cars. No wonder why they haven't.
Yeah, obviously they didn't take inspiration from the back end of these cars, though. It's looks like somebody's put a wedged ball right across the middle, put all the effort into the front half of the car and decided to stick a board on the end for a little bit of a wing. But not the greatest looking rear end, but makes up for it from the front end.
It is quite good, yep. And the driver is so exposed, isn't it? I really want to protect their heads. But they are very much pointing out, and I feel like there's no kind of cushioning as well. The cockpit is so big. Why is it so big? I mean, you could play a tennis match in there.
You could probably fit 2 co-pilots left and right of the driver. It's such a wide car. And imagine, has that paid into previous rounds then, Sam, with the width of the cars and obviously making passing hard in these cars?
Well, sometimes, yeah, I think at Tsukuba that was probably the case. It probably didn't help too much compared to yeah, maybe if we were racing in the MX-5s, which are probably a little bit narrower than these cars, I imagine. But around this place should be plenty wide enough. We will see 4 wide guaranteed as the guys just going out for their warm-up laps. I think we can get the championship standings up on screen. We've got the 3 championships, of course. We've got the Spec 1, Spec 2 and the Masters. Aaron Obster at the top of the Spec 1. He, I don't think, has won the last 3 rounds, which, considering that he won the first 3, if I recall correctly, is a little bit of a drought for him. But he's still got a huge lead ahead of Arabian. Green in 3rd after a disappointing race, actually, for Green. I'm surprised he's up there, considering that I think he scored like any points last time out. Viger in 4th, that's Lynn. Winner down to 6th. The winner having a tricky time, but he is out there at least tonight, is winner Araski, Campbell, Marnie and Elson rounding out the top 10. In the Spec 2, this is our amateur category, pretty much. We've got Thomas Renders at the front, and he won last time at some point. Really good performance as well from Renders. I think he was up in the top 10. Simpkins, Andelo, Favini, McCain, Boitunga, Jackson, Gibson, Sancinelli and Maglini rounding out the top 10 in that one. And in the Masters, it's once again a decent gap. We haven't really got particularly close championships at the front at the moment. Chris Murakami at the top of this one. Antonio Reyes, though, won last time out at Summit Point. Seemingly the momentum switching from one of them to the other over the last few rounds, but Murakami with the better early showing has got that lead. Bradshaw in 3rd, Kern and Longin rounding out the top 5. Could still be quite volatile there. Only round 7 of 12 this, so we are halfway through the season, but none will be difficult to catch. And when it comes to these types of racing, Andy, there's probably a dozen cars, I reckon, who have got the pace to stay in the front pack, but it's the strategy, it's the smart thinking which ends up you on top at the end of these races. And I think Aaron Normal, championship leader, all the experience that he has got that in bucket loads.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, where you were mentioning earlier on there, Sam, as well, about the slipstream effect of these cars being quite strong. This track here really pays to the second place car, the slipstream effect. You know, you got the Kemmel Straight, which is an extremely long straight that would expect to see some big slipstreams going down there and some passes made coming into Lacombe's in turn number 7, so that's going to be an area to watch out for. And then coming out of turn 16 on that back straight, coming up through Blanchimont down to the chicane, is going to be probably another area. So it's all, like you say, it's all about the tactics coming into this 40-minute race. Is you don't really want to be that first car leading in, certainly if you're in a train of 4 or 5 cars coming into that last lap, because you're an open target coming down like the Kemmel Straight. You probably get taken there, and if not, they might leave it to the last minute and come around turn 16 and try and take you through Blanchimont, through turn 18 up to the bus stop, like we saw in the Mazda, as you were mentioning earlier on. So hopefully we have a nice grandstand finish between the cars, but like you said, there's probably about 4 or 5 drivers that are in that realms, and if they keep together and don't lose that slipstream, then we're certainly going to be entertained for the next 40 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. Quick shout out to our sponsor for this series, RaceVoice. RaceVoice is proud to be the exclusive sponsor for the Weekend Warrior Spec Racer Ford Racing Series. Take your driving to the next level with on-track audible performance alerts with RaceVoice and RaceVoiceSIM. Here, miles per hour, turn entry and exit speeds, upshift alerts, and other performance metrics which are selected and configured by you. Go faster with the speed of voice, and Weekend Warriors get 50% off annual sim pricing using the promo code WW50. Do check out racevoice.com for more details about that. I'm sure many of these drivers are out on circuit using that to help them on track, as we've just got a few more seconds of warm-up to go. And I wonder if it's worth just going to the grid now, because we're going to have so many drivers to go through that we will be using the 2 minutes full, and any extra time we can possibly get as well will be useful. So there is the qualifying results. Lubeck on pole position, followed by Gaspers making his return to the series, so German 1-2. Then it is Arabian, Norm Championship leader, occupying that 4th place. He's always 4th place in qualifying, seems to us not. Then it's Bertoni. Wang is top of the Spec 2. That's a great performance from him. And then it's Castro, winner. Renders, who's championship leader, of course, in that category. Marnie, Lin, Burkitt is top of the Masters. Reyes, 2nd place out of the Masters. And that's Naselli, McCain, Gorey, Atherton, Fitcher in 18th. And then it is Dantas, Meyer, Weiger, Simpkins, Bradshaw, Favini, Hamda, Gibson, Rodriguez, and Nunes. Love. And then it is, and we have been corrected on this, vaguely in 30th position. Apologies, Aaron, for the whole season of butchering your name. Many apologies. Then it's Booster, Andelo, Ray, Kern, McGuinness, Green, Jacobson, and Haraski. Look at that, three Spec 1 drivers. Really out of sorts all the way down there. And Labartzi joins them. Chespidi, Leone, Lopez, Flag, Gorison, Waymans, Carter, Conti, and Cantor, and at the 48. And there's Warbolts, Kern, Beglini, Sherman, Longin, Lloyd, Hansen, Gaston, Dick, and Nielsen. And that is why we needed to go through the grid, because they're already pulling away, Andy.
Yeah, that is an extremely long grid there as they go on the warm-up here, or just on the starting to come down into a rolling start for this 40-minute race. So little games here, slowing up a little bit, the field behind, getting through the bus stop, and I'd expect them to go pretty much when they come around this corner, because obviously there's a real big lag for the drivers behind, so it'll be interesting to see if they do, and I believe that they are away here. So Dubeck just keeping his pole position, but you got Glaspers there just behind him as they come down to La Source for the very first time. The front 4 getting getting a really good leap over the 5th place of Wang there, who does manage to get up a place, but the top 4 staying in their positions, but getting a little bit of a gap there over Wang in 4th place. The rest of the field you see there just coming around Lassour's, keeping it nice and clean at the moment, but you can see that stretch of this field. You know, the front drivers are well and truly up and down. Radion and Eau Rouge and the rest of the field is still coming around Lassour, so this field will be strung out quite quickly as we see 3 wide coming out of Lassour's.
Yeah, there's already 20 seconds separating first to these guys, and the race has barely started. There they are at the top of the Kemmel Straight, and that could be a big gap already for the top 4. Winner able to move up into 5th position. He's wasted no time. He's already up 3 places from his race start. Dreadful start for Bertoni, the Uruguayan driver. He started in P5, but he's all the way down in 21st. I guess he spun maybe on the formation lap because he was immediately well down the order. There is Austin Winner. He has got a lot of work to do. He's 1.2 seconds behind Nom. He needs to try to close that gap. He'll be getting pretty much no slipstream from there. So he's going to have to work very hard to bring himself back into play, and of course he might be able to drag along Wang and Castro and Co onto the back of that one. Couple of drives running wide through No Name Corner. They are limited to 12 instants of these drives, but we don't usually see it become too much of a factor, but maybe at the Spa circuit it could be something that they have to keep an eye on as they move through this second sector. Everyone very patient. I think that kind of early pull away, Andy, for the race leaders helped the situation a bit, as the 641 is slightly all over the place. That was Renders offline, and Lynn wasn't able to get past them.
No, definitely. I mean, that front 4 got a really great start off under the green flag and really made a leap over Wang, who was in 5th place. That caused that little bit of a gap there, but Winner taking over that 5th place stop. But just looking down the time down, there's some really big losers out here tonight. Reed's down 20 places in the 33rd. You've got Andrew Love down in 50th, down 21 positions. Jim Brewster down in 50th, down.
How was that not a pilot? There was contact on blade. Now there's a contact just going on in the background where it had to happen eventually. That was absolutely crazy. That was Hamda and Dantas who ended up with the big contact. But I think it was McCain and Atherton who both got hit in the corner, but they kept the car straight. Miracle stuff there. And that's the dangers going 3 wide. And eventually those 2 drivers did end up down the field.
That's one of the things about these slower cars. Everyone thinks, well, why are you going to such large tracks like Spa? But it promotes really good racing, certainly when you have strong slipstream effects that the front drivers in front of you can't get away. So you're almost like we're seeing out on track now, a big long stream of cars just behind each other. You may lose the toe in front of you, but you always find these pocket back as you watch going up Eau Rouge and Radion there. You can just see the big long trains of cars going up there, and expect to see quite a few passing movers coming down the Kemmel Straight here as we sort of line up with 2 cars wide coming down through the Kemmel Straight here, and car 47 is got a big line right behind him as they all pull out now, and you can sort of see the power of that slipstream. Car number 11 and car number 929 just easily breezing past there, coming down the straight and losing 2 positions. You know, and that is just the effect of that slipstream like you were mentioning, Sam. And you just lose 2 positions by no fault of your own, just a pure slipstream.
And once you make the move, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to pull away. So be briefed, everyone. Anyone new to the series, we will have many lead changes. We won't be shouting and raving about every single one, because that's what's going to happen throughout. You can probably change the lead 2 or 3 times every single lap around this circuit, should you choose to. But it's not an advantage to be in the lead. You don't want to be in the lead for the first half of the race at least. You want to be in the pack, saving fuel, and then you can take a shorter pit stop later on. That's your best bet at pulling away from the rest of the field. These guys, they are all the backtrack position. They want to get past and be able to move on to the cars ahead. Reyes, like you were saying, with that dreadful start, he's actually made up a few places. He's back up into 29th, albeit that's changing every so often. Stevie Ray is also in the mix here, series organizer. Struggling with the left-hander there, going through the Fania. And now through the double right. Ray going for an ambitious move. You can already see the damage on the back of the 377. That might just be costing him a few miles an hour down the straight, which is important important around a circuit like this.
Certainly is, but certainly lining up the car there as they go 2x2 wide coming down through Blanchimont now. It's in any other car probably wouldn't be advisable to go 2x2 wide into this next corner, but these cars seem to be and the drivers seem to be paying a lot of respect to each other, and only we had an incident on the last lap, but pretty clean there coming down into the bus stop. Free ride near enough coming down to the bus stop here, but 377 managing to keep it. Oh, as he completely wrong there, and obviously hits into the 621, so I believe they're teammates as well, so unfortunately 377 car there managing to get it slightly wrong coming through the bus stop and impacting his teammate.
Yeah, it was not planned, just could not react in time. As we see this long change, so good news for Winner and Wang. They were able to pretty much stay in that draft, so they are within a second right now, is Austin Winner. However, bad news for Renders. He is detached from that, and that means now that Castro has been able to get past. But 2.5 seconds behind is Castro. I doubt he's going to be able to bridge that gap. And so we will have the lead group, and then we'll have this second group, at least for the first part of this race. Shame for Marnie that he is not up there. We often see him fighting for race wins. And of course, Bertoni back up to 15th place there. I think Bertoni dropped outside the top 20 at one point, but he's back to 15th. He qualified up in P5. He ought to be in that lead pack as well, but just trying to recover as many points as he can right now. And he is catching up to the back of the Meyer Fisher pack, with Bradshaw also behind him. Burkitt currently leader of the Masters category. You can see the few positions he's been able to put between himself and Bradshaw. And of course the problems for Reyes as well, dropping him out of contention. I don't think Burkitt's got a race win so far this season, so could be a first for the 920 this season.
Yeah, definitely. It's always good, and I think I'll probably join the Masters in a couple of years' time. Great to have the over 55s represented here in the Masters series, which is really good. And Burkitt doing a fine, stellar job there, keeping out in front of Bradshaw. Is second place in 16th, so four positions down from him. But Winner's done a really great job of getting onto the back of Nom. Like you were saying, didn't have any slipstream at the start, but has managed to close that gap down. Didn't really take Wang that much with him, 0.4, half a second behind him, so Wang will still be in. So Winner's done a great job to get onto the back of the front runners, and that's the beauty with this track. You know, you can get this gap forming, but then all of a sudden it just comes down. And as soon as you get into that slipstream realm, then that's where, you know, the gap certainly closes up down the long straight. So, you know, promotes really good racing with the slower cars around these longer tracks. But Glaspers at the moment goes over it to start lap number 5 here in the league. Glaspers just mostly tucked up alongside him there, but Arabian in 3rd, Nom in 4th, and Winner in 5th. So top 6 with Wang on the back is managed to break away from Renders there in 7th place, about 2.8 seconds behind. So really lost that slipstream has Renders, and just needs to try and work and do what Winner did to try and get himself back up to this front leading pack. But at the moment, 6 cars are starting to pull away from the field.
There is Renders back to the front of the train, but here they go 3 wide. Could the 25 even make it 4 wide? That's Marnie, and he is going to try to make it 4 wide. Well, quickly the 641 jobs out of there. I think Marnie might be up 3 places right there. Brilliant run for him. He was the only one with the draft, could carry the momentum once he pulled alongside, and it is Marnie up to 7th place. I think that's the first time he's been able to get that high up in this pack for the Swiss driver, so good effort there. The leader's battling is not going to help them with their pace, but still Marnie 2.5 seconds back. Would really need a miracle in order to get himself back in play. And of course, if he wants to lead this train, he is going to be burning a lot of fuel. And I cannot stress it enough how much the fuel will matter, particularly around this circuit where there's some big braking areas, some big opportunities to save fuel. You could be stationary for 4 or 5 extra seconds if you've been in the lead compared to someone who's been in the draft for so long. When you've got the top 6 separated by just 1.5 seconds, obviously that amount of difference in the pit lane is going to be costly. So whilst Nom is down in 5th place, and Wang as well is down in 6th place, they're almost leading right now. If they've been saving the most out of fuel of anyone, really track position completely goes out of the window, and we often see this from them. We saw it back at Tsukuba, same story, running in 4th place for the vast majority of the race. A couple of incidents in front of him helped, but it was his short pit stop which really gave him the race win, as Arabian now moves back up into the lead into Blockshot.
I mean, that's always the signs of a true champion, isn't it? The one that just stays at the back, keeps himself nice and clean, is no clean, just taking the slipstream, saving that fuel, just thinking about the whole 40-minute race rather than where they currently are out on track, as we see already. Just taking a little bit too deep there into the bus stop, which gives Glaspers the opportunity to come alongside him as they have a race now 3 wide coming down into the source there. As we
The
can see
73, Castro. Sorry to interrupt, Sandy. Castro was in the background. We have got 3 wide though too, but it was quite entertaining. Into the hairpin. Oh, he's had to come to the pits, Castro. Now, this will be close to getting to the end. Well, you know what? Burkett's gone into the pits as well, so this is the pit window now open. A very high fuel consumption circuit, this obviously. I mean, you're on the throttle for so much of the lap, and you're also wasting a lot of energy when you're hard braking into the end chicane and La Source as well at the start of the lap. But this seems to be pretty much as early as you can do it, and so that is an interesting strategy there for Burkett. I mean, leader in the Masters category. He's gone for a very early pit stop. Apologies, it was Bradshaw in the... No, it was Burkett in the lead, wasn't it? Yeah, a few places ahead of Bradshaw, who now occupies that lead position quite far ahead of Reyes. But he loses out to Atherton. Is there going to be contact? There is contact, and that's our leader in the Masters round, and that will significantly help his rivals there. Bradshaw drops to 19th place overall.
Definitely. I mean, I love the paint of Maddie's car, that red lobster. I think that just suits that car down to a T. I mean, look at that paint. That is just absolutely amazing. I saw it just first when we saw the broadcast earlier on, and I was just like, wow, that's just such a great paint. Certainly with the claws over the front end of the wings, and that makes it look really good. But doing a great job is Manny in 8th place.
We'll get a replay of Bradshaw here. Was he alongside when they started turning in? Nah, he was. He wasn't particularly close to the apex, was he?
No, that was an optimistic lunge there, and unfortunately didn't have a chance there, Bradshaw, to get out the way of the car coming up. Unfortunately got clipped and turned, so lost a couple of positions there. It's always terrible when that sort of happens to you. You know, by no fault of your own, you lose a good couple of positions from the spin. But that's racing, as we see again here, just going into single file, coming around turn 18, come down into the bus stop. So we'll just ride on board for Dubek now, just looking at the inside of Arabian. Just going to try and stick the car, managing to get it there. Is he going to get the move done? But like you were saying, Sam, I don't know why they're fighting so much. You know, they've got still a large portion of this race, not even halfway. And you look at the likes of Gaspers there and Winner and Nom, just like you said earlier on, sat in 5th place, just minding his own business, just saving that fuel, and just watching all the front runners just fighting it out and using their fuel up. So good pay into Nom's hand here. And as we can see on screen, you know, with all this fighting that's going on, the group behind has managed to caught up. So where we were had 6 cars, we've probably now got about 12 cars on a big long train. So the fighting out in front and not working together is not paying off.
I think Gaspers out there, seeing that this is his first race of the season, probably just wants to have some fun. I think he's just overtaking whenever it's possible and doesn't care too much about the strategy. Maybe the drivers who he's battling with will be getting a little bit frustrated, but these guys are fairly relaxed usually. But we are going to have a long chain, aren't we? We have got a long chain. It's all a big old snake, and it is Maya at the back of it. Could Bertoni win this race? Bertoni was down in 20th place, I think, at one point. Started in P5, but I think had a problem on the outlap, and he is not far from the lead right now. Renders, the championship leader, well, he'll keep his amateur championship lead no matter what happens tonight, but he has dropped off the back of this train, albeit with the way that they're fighting, he might be able to append himself onto the back of it before time is up. By the way, really good battle for 31st position right now. This is kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit as that pack. But it's Burkitts who's just come into the pits, is in 31st, and he's got a long train of cars who haven't come into the pits. Waymans, McGuinness, Gorison, Huern, Dick, McCain, Love, and Castro. Even Baglini and co aren't that far back either. So yeah, nice train of cars right here in the Masters and Spec 2 drivers.
Big long trains is what we come to see with these slower running cars around these bigger tracks, but certainly all to play for all these drivers. You know, you can just looking down the timing tower now, you've got obviously that front group that's got 10 drivers in there, then you got 2 drivers probably out of the way, and then you got another group of 3, so it's like groups of 3s and 4s go along. But you know, with these drivers battling out in front, it's given these opportunities for the guys that have lost the slipstream. And as you mentioned before, Bertoni, you know, absolutely horrendous start, started off in 5th, ended up around about 21st place, and Nom has come into the pit lane here, our 5th place runner. So that's a bit surprising really, when he was looking like he was fuel saving. So Nom in for an early pit stop, so we'll see how that pays out for him.
Yeah, I'll still be able to take less fuel through that fuel saving. We'll have less to get to the end. But I think we saw Nom do this at, I want to say Monza, and maybe Jonathan might be up Monza. Yeah, Jonathan just confirming that one in the background. Came into the pits very early, and whilst everyone else was fighting, managed to overtake everyone. Ooh, spin around there, the 242. And hopefully that's only one car with damage. That was McCain, who I think is near the top of the championship in the Spec 2 category. He drops out that side the top 40 there. But yeah, that early pit stop will get you out of traffic. And Nom just feeling like they're battling too much. I don't want to be involved in all of this. As we get a replay of sort of the end of that one, I think it was pretty much McCain's fault, I think, losing the car on the exit of the corner, spinning into his right.
I thought he was going to be saved by the driver on his inside, but unfortunately got spun the other way, because he looked like on the second turn of the bus stop he lost it, but the car on the inside sort of saved him. But then he probably overcorrected in his steering and went the other way, so unfortunately spun round. So I did think he was going to be saved by the unsuspecting driver in front of him, but unfortunately didn't. Loses a few positions in tow with that. But we look at the front with Gaspers still out in front, 0.6 of a second now over Arabian in second place. 3/10 of a second back is winner. 3/10 back from him is Dolbeck, and then we have 3/10 back from him is Marnie. So equal gaps there from 3rd down to 6th at the moment, but Gaspers is really trying to get away at the moment. He's not going to be able to do it, unfortunately, because that, like we were saying, that slipstream will pull the drivers behind him back in on the long straights. But making a really good effort here, and like you said, if this is his first race, doing a sterling job at the moment, keeping out. But interesting tactic, I think, from Nom, really, because, you know, slipstream is vitally important around this track, and you know, unless he's got a spotter that tells him if you pit now, you'll be out behind this train. You know, you really don't want to be losing that slipstream effect, because you can lose so much time on there, as we see him down in 22nd position. He's 4 seconds behind Gibson, so he's got 0 slipstream. So maybe that's the wrong tactic there from Nom. Only time will tell.
Yeah, I think he feels so confident about his own pace now. That he feels like he can just outlap Gaspers and co, and yeah, by not battling, then he'll go faster. We'll see, but they're kind of stopped battling now, so it's still working together a bit more. I think Arabian is heavily fuel saving. There seems to be losing a lot through the corners, and then just making it all up down these straights. I think everyone is sort of following his lead. Probably Nom has probably, you know, kind of forced them to stop battling one another, stop having just fun out there and start thinking about the long game. There's Lin in 8th place. Some good results as Lin recently. Got P3 at Knockhill. I think he was a race winner as well last season at Charlotte. So talented driver is Lin. and he is trying to move his way up, but meanwhile just in front of him, Bertoni, who could definitely win this race. Bertoni, he is up into 6th place. He is looking very quick right now, and 1.2 seconds behind Marnie. He needs to push in order to join to the back of that one, but he might be helped out by the back marker here, who could give him a bit of tow around this middle part of the lap.
Certainly a man on the mission at the moment, up from 23rd position up to 6th place. Started, like you said, in 5th place, so we know he's got a lot of pace around here, and just picking off the drivers as he go, and at the moment up into P6, only 3 seconds off the lead as we join the battle here for 26th position. So 6-1 there, just leading out this big long trainer. The cars are fighting quite heavily behind him there on the track, so giving the opportunity using all the track. But it'd be interesting to say, like you say, the only 12 incidents on a track like this, that could easily be chewed up, because this track is notorious for catching you out for off tracks as well.
Yeah, it's not quite as bad as it used to be. The Jers can push it. I think and you might know more about this than me, to be honest, Andy. With I think it's the red and white curve. As long as you keep a wheel on the red and white curve, you get away with it most of the time. But I mean, there's still time to be gained by going onto I guess it's the green around here, isn't it? Around this track to exploit that.
Yeah, it definitely is, and that's right, Sam. So it's 12 is not a lot of points in a 40-minute race, and they soon rack up. Certainly if you unfortunately hit into the car or get hit by a car behind you, there's 4 straight away. So the incident points may come into it towards the tail end of this race, but as you were saying before, you know, it's not really been an issue. But we see here Bertoni coming into the pits from what was 6th place, so man on the mission, and pitting a little bit early compared to the rest of the field, as we see Renders there, Wenger going in 14th place. So a few more cars coming in for their one and only pit stops.
It's really weird seeing the cars go down the pit lane. I think this might be the first time I've been at Spa since they increased the pit lane speed limit, which was ages ago. I think they did that, where for a few of the Grand Prix circuits, I think they increased it from, was it 40 miles an hour before to 60? So it looks like it's like fast forwarded when they're going down the pit lane. Barely any time lost in comparison to before. So, but still, no big crash down the Kettle Straight. That's 3 cars out. We'll need to tow back, guys, please, in order to avoid any more incidents. That was Atherton, Meyer, and was there a back marker as well involved in that one? That was unfortunate, and high speed there at midway down the Kettle Straight.
Really weird, because it was really weird, because Atherton obviously had the overspeed coming down there, just went to the outside and just seemed to, I don't know, forget that there was a car inside of him, just turned right and unfortunately hit into him and pinballed across and took the other driver out. So a bit unfortunate there, and I'm sure if Jonathan can find it, we can have a look and divulge and do some examination to see what actually happened there. I mean, looking at these cars, though, Sam, I was thinking about it earlier. I suppose if you were in VR in this car, it's probably such an advantage, because it's such an open cockpit in front of the driver that it wouldn't even look like you're driving a car, I'd imagine.
Yeah. You're so exposed. I mean, it's almost as though you got like well, it's almost like this view. You're so high up in the seat. This is the driver's view. Oh no, yeah, he totally moved across, didn't he? That was clumsy. And then I feel bad for the orange car who got caught up in it.
It certainly is, and bit of a mistake there from Atherton, I think it was, that caused that slight incident. So he managed to carry on, and unfortunately the other car, I think it was car number 5, wasn't it? Simon Mayer, unfortunately, probably towed back to the pit, so he certainly came off worse there. As we see Glaspers going into the pit, Winner, Dolbeck, all coming into the pit. So Arabian and Mani are still out there for their stop, haven't stopped yet, so expect them in the next lap or so, I would imagine. Certainly with this lap being so long, 2:41. Yeah, it's almost like a Nürburgring scenario, isn't it? The lap is that long that you could have the fuel to do 3/4 of it, but unfortunately you can't get that full lap. So it's so we're looking back with Aranam here in 13th place at the moment, just steadily going to be picking off the cars that haven't gone into the pit lane. So might be a stroke of genius, and you might be absolutely spot on there, Sam, thinking that he could, you know, do better out on his own.
Yeah, so he comes out. His pace hasn't been great, Nom, so he was a little bit slower than the race leaders that last time around, but not far off. I think he's still going to be in that lead pack, but I don't think it's been quite as successful as he was hoping it would be, because they were fighting so much before, and then they all sort of started working together, and it became less profitable. Short pit stop though for Nom, 11.7, and then we had Dobek and Winner just over 12 seconds out there. We're not going to see 3 wide, are we, into the braking area? No point in wasting time, as we're a little bit late on the brakes, almost within sort of net code error range right there. Winner moves, yeah, Winner clear of Nom, and Nom as well clear of the 247. And yeah, Gasper's not too, so Gasper's almost breaking the draft there. You can just see him up ahead. That could be a significant gap though for Gasper's, but we would expect Arabian, I think, to probably be around Gasper's range. So this might split up the pack potentially from what we're seeing so far. This could be a chasm forming.
Certainly is, and only is from the pit lanes. After the pit lanes, you always see one emerging, somehow miraculously getting a couple of seconds advantage at the front of the field or within the battle groups that we normally see him, but not really paying off there for Nom at the moment, sat in 9th place. You got Glaspers, Winner, and Nom with Dobek just behind, who have all pitted, and the ones in front of Glaspers all are yet to always a pit stop. So as we're watching at the moment, Glaspers the front of the pit stoppers at the moment, but like you were saying, you know, Arabian was quite close to Gaspers, so I'd expect him to be quite close when it comes into the pits, but I don't think they've come in again, so have they gone round again?
Yeah,
No.
usually the fuel,
No.
oh no, here they are. Oh no, so one's gone long then, so Lin has got just about enough fuel seemingly to go for one more lap. But, well, we saw some of the drivers come in after about 11 minutes, didn't we? We've now got just over 12 minutes to go, but as you were saying before, you know, it's such a long lap that, you know, extending it by 1 lap is, you know, a chunk of the race. It's pretty much 8% of the race being added on. So where is Arabian and Co going to come out of the pits? Currently, leader of the drivers who are pitted is Gaspers, who's just crossing the line right now, because Arabian will have the much shorter exits through the final corner. In fact, Gaspers, he has been caught, hasn't he? So he wasn't able to break the draft after all. And Arabian a little bit further down, Winner in 3rd position there. And then the only driver yet to pit. So actually, I thought there might be a little bit of a group forming. But in actual fact, it seems like everyone still is pretty much with one another. Maybe just Naselli and Bertoni getting a bit detached.
But just looking down at the pit stop timings, in Arabian there was actually the longest in his pit stall, considering he went that extra couple of laps longer than the rest of the field. So he done a 12.93. Was just looking at Nom, like you said, 11.88, and he pitted on lap 13 with Winner, and Glasper's done 11.10. So although Arabian went slightly longer in the run, he took the most amount of fuel on. So is that a mistake? And that's why we're seeing Arabian currently in P7 behind Nom, Winner, Glaspers, Dolbeck and Vogue there in 6th place. So not really worked out for Arabian there doing that extra lap.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Has not worked for him seemingly, unless everyone else is underfueled. It'll be great, won't it, if we're close on laps. I don't think it's going to be close, is it? I think we'll have 4 more to go after this one. So I doubt anyone's totally got wrong the fuel, but I'm sure some drivers will be pushing it. Nom now at the front of the train then. Managed to get ahead of Gaspers, who dropped down a couple of places, and Winner has been going with him. And of course just one more driver to pit. Well, in fact a few drivers to pit, so Vaguely is yet to pit along with Avini and of course race leader Lin as well. Here was the pass being pulled off by Nom, who I think was 3rd in the line initially, but that's where you really want to be, maybe going on to the last lap, because then you get that momentum down the entire Kemmel Straight.
Yeah, you certainly do. You want to be that third place driver on that last lap, certainly if it's this close, to do that like double slipstreaming effect down the Camel Straight is so powerful in these cars. You really don't want to be out in front, because if you're out in front, you're like a sitting duck, really. It's not a lot you can do, and there's so many series, and it was so prevalent in the Mazda when you had 3 or 4 cars on the same lap, and then basically it got down to the last lap and they just got overtaken because the slipstream effect. And you know, Nom just needs to be aware of that. Obviously slipping back there into second place, maybe that was a little bit of a tactic there from him to just make sure that he wasn't that leading car come at the end of the lap. But really alternate lines there. Nom's going right over to the inside of the track, then moving out wide, taking Gaspers with him. Not sure why he did that. Maybe he didn't want this slipstream effect to take this first place, and unfortunately I think he already has. And as we see side by side going down the Camel Straight between Nom and winner with Dolbeck, just making his move now, coming up into second place and probably going to take the lead here, coming around the outside of turn number 7 going into the Coombs, and he does. So that's the power of that slipstream. Dolbeck back in third place, just managing to get the overtake done on the 2 cars in front of him. So that's certainly the position you want to be in if it's going to be this close by the end of the race.
Yeah, because it might not be decided at the Camel Straights as well. I mean, you get past at the Camel Straight, but very vulnerable heading to Blanchemont and the final chicane as well. So got to be careful about that. Haraski, who had a poor qualifying, he's up 17 places. I think that's not the most places gained. It's sort of in the top 5, I think, maybe. Most places gained is Green, apparently, but actually I think it might be Samuel Dick with 28 places gained.
Gastimino up 30 places. So
yes.
There we go, look at that. That's a big chunk. And I think you did say at the start we'd see cars getting 30 places plus. So your prediction is right. As Samuel Dick up 28 positions as well. Same with John Nielsen up 22. So some really big gainers, but also some savage losers, as we see Alan McCain down 25 places. Simon Meyer, obviously with that incident we saw coming down the Camel Straight, down 28 position. Chris Atherton down 30. Oh, as we have a spinner here, car number 22, Matthias Wieger. Where is that on track? Is that coming? That's coming around on, isn't it? His car is not going straight.
Hopefully he hasn't used his fast repair yet, because you have to tick it off in order not to use it at your pit stop, even if you have no damage. And he was all by himself and just understeering out. It's not easy for that to, right, he's gone over the curb, and that's one of the first things you learn here at Spa. You gotta be very careful of that one. And it's actually the contact has only come, I think, when he's tried to rejoin, just didn't reverse enough and ended up clutching against the wall. Hopefully we'll get to the end of the race without another pit stop. So we have got, it is going to be 3 more laps, isn't it?
3 laps,
no, it's not. Oh, no, maybe it is close on fuel. Hang on, so 242, then that will be 540.
That's
and
going
then
to be 3 laps.
810. Yeah, 3 laps. Okay, it's not that close actually, is it? My bad.
It could be. It depends on how much they battle in and how much they lose. But these 5 out in front are battling quite hard, as we see them coming a 3 wide winner, taking over the race lead position at the moment. Nom tucking in just behind him here. Yes, and car number 42 there, Dolbeck in 3rd place. Not really making the move he did in the last lap, so probably just thinking to himself, well, I don't want to be leading this race at the moment. We got a couple of laps left. I'm just going to save myself for the opportunity. Like you said, Camel Straight, if you get that position done on the last lap, you're in a good position. But like you said, Sam, you know, you're opening up for where you come around turn number 16, going down into Blanchemont, down into the bus stop. You're wide open for a possible pass, but it's a lot harder to pass there and a lot easier to defend than it is going down the Camel Straight. So we might see the opportunity come from the Camel Straight, I think.
Yeah, you don't want to leave it to that. I know certainly in my experience, and these drivers are far better than myself. I do always like to be at the front because I don't trust myself not to make a mistake. It's too much pressure when you're following behind a driver and you know you got to stay within half a second. It's a little bit wide in the back, isn't it? It's going to have to work hard to No, well, I say he's going to have to work hard. He's literally going to have to wait for one straight, and then he's going to be right back with these drivers again. So yeah, just to confirm, it is 2 more laps. I was getting my calculations wrong. So the drivers would need to be crossing the line pretty much now in order to force 3 more laps, and just 2 more laps to go after this one, as Nom retakes the lead. Not many packs, by the way, further down. That's why we've been paying a bit more attention to this lead pack. Maybe a little bit of a 1, but where Jason Green is, 3rd place in the championship, Jason Green, but another disappointing round for him. But that is pretty much it out there. Maybe Huraski as well, like we were showing a little bit earlier on.
There certainly is. There certainly seems to be the battle at the front at the moment is the one to be watching. So this is Huraski. Well, it was Huraski there in 19th position, up 19 places. So just got overtaken by America. This is what I was going to say
to these guys. Now we are going to have a lead pack of 7.
Yeah, I was going to say that, you know, Arabian dropped back, so he dropped back far enough that Bertoni was able to pick up his slipstream. Was about 1.4 seconds behind the car 21, which gave the opportunity for Bertoni to pick up that slipstream, and he is closing in on this front pack. You know, like you were saying at the start, Sam, I wouldn't put it past Bertoni for possibly the race win. If he can try and somehow latch on to the back of these, and if these guys in front start bickering and starting to fight with each other coming into this second to last lap here, then this could give Bertoni the real emphasis to get onto the back, because he's got no real pressure from behind between Naselli in 7th. So he's just got to concentrate going forward and trying to close down that gap. But with his speed that he's been doing, I'd imagine he'd be able to get it done, because if we look at his last lap, it was a 2:41. All the front runners in front of him was a 2:43, so gained literally 2 seconds on that last lap on the leaders. So it's certainly closing down.
Oh, there goes Reyes. After his dreadful start, he's not going to win in the Masters category, but with Murakami, I think, out there tonight, he will still be gaining back some points. I think Murakami hasn't missed a round so far this season, if I recall correctly, so should have a decent job score in order for him to use, but still Reyes good there in 19th place. Huraski will not let that one go easy. Huraski top 10 in the overall championship, remember, as well, or the Spec 1 championship, but yeah, not very quick tonight. Here is Wang, top of the Spec 2s. Oh, Naselli and Bertoni are with cursed. No, they're off the circuit, but I think... No, there has been a problem.
So
I think Naselli may have been all right, but I think Bertoni did have a problem.
Yeah, it certainly looks like that. See if we can get a replay of what happened. Certainly has put pay to his championship winners, and at the moment is going to have a battle to try and get into that P8. Got Manny just in front of him, the Red Lobster car, with Lynn in front of him. So real big error. So we'll see what happened here. Coming down the back end through turns 15 and 6. No, this is No Name, isn't it? Coming out, is it Pouon that he gets it completely wrong?
I think it's a little bit later. I think it's at Stabley where the mistake is made. We will hang on to this one for a little bit.
So have a look, coming around Pouon. I think you are right here, I think.
And he was sort of in the draft still, probably just over about a second, so he was having to push, and then I think it's down here that he made the mistake.
Yeah, probably pushed too hard trying to make that, but certainly put pay to his races after an excellent start, as we see him in the background. Yeah, but I mean, look at this. You know, all 5 of them, you could throw a blanket on them. Who's going to win here? So this is the final lap of this race. So we'll be seeing some spicy moves, I'd imagine, on here. But Winner managing to get a 0.5 of the second gap over Dolbach in second place. Nom back there in 3rd place has got it all to try and do. Seems to be the fastest man. Claspers in 4th with the Raven Duck on him in 5th. And now we've got some back markers. Oh, didn't quite miss it all, managing to get through there, but that back marker probably had the scare of his life, seeing them 5 cars just barreling down on him, going super slow on the inside just to try and give him the lead. But we're looking at here a winner at the front. That gap of 0.5 is closing down now to 0.3 of a second to Dobek in the second place. Nom just right onto the back of Dobek with Glaspers in 4th place. So these 5 drivers at the moment at the back with Arabian, which I don't know what's happened with him, but he's not really on the pace. So I think the win is going to come from these top 4 drivers at the moment, Sam.
Yeah, it does look like that is going to be the case. Maybe Arabian could have a chance, but yeah, I think it's going to be one of those top 4. Winner was able to pull away by half a second, like you were saying before, with that gap gradually coming down the middle sector, and now this is where it matters in the race. We've been racing for over 40 minutes already, but this is the part of the race where it counts. This is what they've all been preparing for. Dobek storms to the lead and trying to defend as well. Right there is Winner trying to hold on to the position. They're all extremely so. They've really compromised themselves through Blanchemont, and surely that is going to be Dobek storming through to the lead. Arabian trying to get up the inside of all of them. They're 4 wide into the final chicane. Arabian makes it through as they all make contact behind, storming through as well as the 44 of Naselli, but out to the lead. Dobek made his move at the perfect point. It was P2 to be going into Blanchemont, and Dobek in the 42 wins out here at Spa. Really good tactical drive, but Arabian, what a move. He'll get 3 places right at the end, as Renders is going to beat Wang for the Spec 2 win. Brilliant performance there from Mendes after a poor start. He was able to storm through as the champion leader. And Wang, did he make contact with Fritcher? Perhaps here he was gaining a lot of time. So that was Renders, I think, on the inside there. And they're all braking extremely early. The 43 going around the outside. No, it was just too late on the brakes. And when going for the move on Joe, who wasn't in his class, that cost him the position to Renders, who will happily eat that up for another race win in his category. He's been absolutely dominant there. But what a good performance there from Dobek. Wonder if you get a replay of sort of that last half lap for Dobek, because in the end, Andy, he was in the perfect place. He just caught before Blanchemont, and with the others scrapping over P2, he was able to just make that break through that one corner.
Certainly was, and obviously I wrote off Arabian at my peril because he had a storming run out of Blanchemont coming down into the chicane as well, managing to pickpocket the 3 cars in front of him and just getting that second place. But to go in 4 wide into the chicane is absolutely insane.
Yeah, it was brilliant driving from the lost end. There was a bit of contact, but I don't think it was anyone at fault. I mean, when you get, I'm not even sure if the spot 2 is prepared to say 4 wide. I guess it's prepared to say 4 wide. But at that moment, you pretty much got absolutely no chance. Unfortunately, I can't see this replay, Andy, so I don't know if you can talk us through this one.
I can't see it either, unfortunately, but obviously get them 4 cars going around. It did look like Nom got came off worse coming around the bus stop, and unfortunately gets 6th place overall. So did get overtaken by Winner Glaspers, but you know, Dobek, like you said, you know, an exceptional move coming down the second half of the call. Got a really good run off turn 16th, managed to stick it up alongside the 1st place car, managing to make it stick. And then obviously, you know, from Winner, Glaspers and Nom behind him, they all tried to go side by side going into the thing, and then Arabian from nowhere really got an amazing slipstream, stuck it up the inside going into the bus stop and managed to make the move stick. So it was absolutely great. So hopefully this replay works here, so we can sort of see here there Dobek making his move at the moment, and Arabian's not even in the picture at this particular moment in time. As you can see him here, just coming up, the purple car at the back. So they're fighting 3 wide coming in there, compromise their speed a lot, but Dobek out front. And you can see just the power and the slipstream that he got coming out with them 3 running. So there's really squeezing in the back 3 cars. Unfortunately, we see Nom turning around there, but Arabian really profiting off Winner, Glaspers, and Naselli just and Nom basically battling it out coming into the bus stop. But yeah, great.
And here are our results. Since they did pick one by a second somehow, which does not tell you the story of the race. It was much closer than that. Arabian ahead of Winner, Gaspers, Naselli. Nom's drought continues. still miles ahead in the championship. Barney in 7th. Then it's Bertoni, who I was sort of rooting for. He will be a bit annoyed that he wasn't in that lead pack in the end. Lin kind of fell away with that extra outlap, or extra lap in the first stint. Richer was in 10th place. Renders beating Wang for the Spec 2 win right at the end. Rodriguez was in 13th place overall. Then it was Burkitt, who was top of the Masters. I think that might be his first win of the season. I might be wrong about that, but well done either way to Marcus. There was Castro Bradshaw, despite a spin, finishing in 16th. Then it was Green Andelo in 18th place. He started quite far down, I think, did Andelo, so just trying to get himself back. Reyes had a poor start, ended up on the podium still in the Masters. Begli in 20th place. Then was Haraski, Favini, Gaston, Gibson, Viger, Labarti, McGuinness. Dick was in 28th. He was in the wars as well, actually, was Sam, for most of the race. Lopez, Cantor, Waymans, Kuan, Warbolt, McCain, Brewster, Love, Vaglini, and Floyd in 38th. 39th was Hansen. There was Nunez rounding out the top 40. Flag was behind him, followed by Longin, Kern, Simpkins, Sherman, Atherton, Nielsen, and Meyer. Still got 10 more to go. Gorison, Jacobson, Amder, Conti, Carter, Ray. We didn't see what happened to Stevie actually, but something clearly did. And then the rest of the retirees: Dantas, Leone, Gory, and Trespidi. Who I don't know if they all took the start. A few of them may not have done. But we will try to go to the interviews because the way this circuit works does eat into our broadcast time. But we will first bring up Michael Dobeck to have a chat with us now. Congratulations, Michael. Absolutely timed it to perfection. I mean, I was saying, you know, you raced for 40 minutes, but it all comes down to that last half lap. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, I was lucky. Yeah, the timing wasn't too bad, I have to admit, but in the end, David launched his attack into Blanchimont, which gave me just the gap to bring it home. So that was pure luck from my side, but I'll happily take it.
We saw a lot of racing in the first 20 minutes or so, with you guys constantly changing race leaders. Was that sort of a competitive scenario, or was it just for a bit of fun to change those positions so many times?
Yeah, I mean, we're basically here for fun, at least I am, so we just went full steam and took every chance that we got. At least until the pit stop window started, obviously. So we just had fun and started to really pick up the pace when the first guys went into the pits, so we don't lose them through the pit cycle, of course.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, once Norm was into the pits, you guys kind of had to make sure to pick up the pace slightly. In terms of kind of these big tracks and the smaller circuits, I mean, which ones do you prefer? Because I mean, it's almost like a different sports when you're racing around these, you know, big circuits. It's, you know, like driving around super speedways in NASCAR. Do you enjoy kind of these tactical races, or are you looking forward to returning to the tighter ones in the near future?
Honestly, I prefer the shorter tracks, the more technical tracks that really show the good drivers. I mean, that's where always the same guys win, and the draft tracks are actually the freak races where guys like me have a shot for a win. So yeah, it's good for me today, but I honestly prefer the technical tracks. Spa is basically the exception of draft tracks that I love because it just has that flow.
Definitely. Well, hopefully you can keep up these races later on in the season, Michael. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, basically everyone who was in our group today, because it was just an amazing battle all the race. And yeah, of course, thanks to Stevie for setting all this up. It's a great league and I love to race here, so hats off for Stevie. And thank you guys for a cracking broadcast week after week.
Thank you very much, Michael, and yeah, best of luck for next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Michael Dobeck, your race winner tonight. Andy, would you like to track someone up?
Yeah, I best drag Forzan up and obviously apologise to him. So welcome to the box, Forzan Arabian. Second place overall, and I must start off by apologising because in the broadcast I did feel you sort of were lacking a little bit of pace on the last 2 laps, but you know, you had an outstanding Blanchimont corner and managed to take the 3 cars in front of you. Just walk us through that last half of the lap here on the last lap.
Well, I did make a mistake on the lap prior to the white flag, and I was a little disappointed, but still being in the draft, I figured I will give it a try. I'll try to go from the back to the front and just dive if I can. It paid off. I can't say that it was the cleanest pass, but yeah, they're all great drivers. It's really a positioning game more than a speed game.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, you 5 drivers were out front the majority of that race. Obviously splitting it up a little bit in the pit stop strategies, but I think your move at the end, you know, I thought it was super clean. The 3 cars in front of you were battling quite hard, you know, rubbing side pods together, and you just seemed to just put it up the inside, manage to get it stopped for bus stop, and take the 3 positions in front of you. So you know, you got to be happy with that. But overall in the race itself, it was very much a cat and mouse race between the 5 of you out in front. You know, where did you want to be coming into that last lap? Where did you feel the optimal position was?
The optimal would be in a position where you're not going side by side down the left-handers on the backstretch. That's what I felt was going to be the best spot. I ended up being maybe a car behind. Austin, I thought Austin was going to cover the inside, but the door was wide open.
Said it did, and I'm pretty sure you'll take that gift, Thor. So, you know, Sam was saying about these long tracks compared to the shorter tracks. Which one do you prefer?
These contain more racing, to the core of it. You know, passing. You know, what makes NASCAR very interesting. But technical courses bring up more the driver side, and I do like that portion a little bit more. But there's some tracks that contain both that are more driver oriented. You know, let's say I like Sebring, or Laguna Seca is one of my favorites, where you do still have some draft, but you can still defend into the next corner.
Yeah, definitely. I think these are probably more tactical races than the shorter tracks, because obviously you're just looking at optimal passing, but here you've got to take into account the big slipstream effect. So it's probably more technical from a strategy point of view, these longer races. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, this is all strategy. As you can see, saving fuel wasn't necessarily the best strategy because you end up with the same pack in the end. We needed to drive a little bit more together once the first person went to the pits, but once everybody comes back out, it's free game, and you try to position yourself where you feel you're going to get the best outcome.
Yeah, well, I mean, second place here today is a great result from yourself. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
My girlfriend, as usual, Carolina, I love you. Thank you for watching and commenting. And you guys for hosting us here, and Stevie Ray as usual.
Well, thanks for joining us in the booth, and good luck for next week. So that was Forzan Arabian there, getting second place overall. Fortunately, I did write him off, so that was a commentator blooper, I would say. Sam there managing to get second place in the end. But it looks like, I'm not sure if we have anybody for a chat. We've got Thomas.
Yes, Thomas Venters. We can have a chat with now. Thomas, congratulations. A race win. We will go to the final lap in a moment, but talk us through the early stages because it feels like a while ago now. I think he had some problems in the first few laps.
Yeah. I don't know. I think even before the race started, really, someone spun in front of us, and I think we lost connection to the lead group. But I think about 15 minutes into the race or something like that, our group managed to get back to the front group. And at that moment, I made a mistake in Brazil, I think the corner was called. So I spun, but I didn't lose too much time, so I tried to get back. But yeah, once you get out of the draft, it's really hard to do that. So I saw Jeff Fritcher pitting early, and yeah, I thought I was a little bit faster than he was, so I thought maybe if I pit as well, then we come on the track together, yeah, about the same position on track, and we can work together to at least try and keep the speed up. And I think after that I saw Wang also pit, and I think he had a pit stop a bit longer than we did, so it was only 2 seconds ahead. So yeah, there was some chances. So I tried to drive to him.
Yeah, you just about got him on the last lap. Take us through that sort of last half lap, because you seemed a little bit more cautious than Wang. You seemed to lift out other thoughts of going to the chicane, whereas he was going all out past you. I mean, yeah, take us through kind of your mentality on that last lap.
Yeah, my heart rate was really out of the roof. I think I had about 3 laps of full focus just to try and get to him. And once that last lap started, we managed to get within 0.9 seconds on Camel Straight. I knew there was only one chance, and that's on the back straight, because yeah, if I overtook him earlier, he's almost definitely going to overtake me again. So just keep within half a second going onto the back straight, and that was my goal. So indeed I was lifting a bit more than I usually did throughout the lap, and yeah, at Blanchimont I was right behind him, and yeah, he kept the inside very well, and I really wanted to have that inside just to try and overtake, because I had in the officials I had tried that on the outside, and that just didn't work for me. So yeah, the only chance I wanted to have was on the inside, or none at all. But yeah, he defended very, very well and very fair also. But he just made that. It just broke too late a little bit, I think, and he went wide and spun. Yeah, it was just. I'm still full of adrenaline because of the last laps.
I mean, understandably, it was a really satisfying win in the end, Thomas. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, today Jeff Fritcher, because without him I wouldn't be able to drive to Wang and take the victory today. So thank you.
Great, well, thanks for having a chat with us, Thomas, and yeah, best of luck at Nürburgring next time.
Thank you. Cheers.
So that was our Spec 2 winner there, Thomas Renders. Andy, that pretty much brings us to an end tonight, but hopefully you've enjoyed your time.
Yeah, first time we're seeing these cars, good fun. You know, it does remind me a hell of a lot like the Mazdas with the style of racing that does go on. So I'll certainly be picking up a few more of these races. Didn't realise they were so much fun. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Excellent stuff. We will be back with you, of course, next week at Nürburgring. That's the next race, not the Nordschleife, just the GP circuit. But I think this should still be a good mix for these cars. Now those high-speed corners, Schumacher should be a big challenge in these cars, nowhere near flat out. But yeah, should be very close to the limit. I'm sure maybe the instant limit will come into play a little bit around that track as well. Of course, we've got loads of other action on Apex Racing TV coming up in the next few days. We have got the GT3 trophy on Tuesday. We have got Oh dear, my mind is going totally blank. I'm usually really good at this. esports we've got as well over the next couple of days. Also got the Rick Motec series as well. Got F3s, got Formula 3.5s, and loads of others as well. XLR as well. We've also got tonight. So do make sure to subscribe to the channel for all of those streams coming up in the next few days, and of course also check out our social media pages on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Andy Thompson and from Jonathan Grabowski, we are going to say goodbye for now, and we'll see you back in 1 week's time at the Nürburgring. See you then.